But I'm telling you right now that you can do it. You can make it. There's a power in being uncommon. How many of you know that you have a gift and a purpose? Right? Each and every one of us in here has a gift and we have a purpose. But when I speak throughout the country, I tell people it's your responsibility to discover what your gift is. See, one of our problems is this. Two problems. One, a lot of times we don't want the gift that was given to us. We want somebody else's gift, right? Like I used to want to be able to sing. But my friend Sherry will tell you right now I'm tone deaf. Right? I tried to do the Marvin Sapp, never could have made it, and it don't work for me. And so my gift, what I found was the gift of oratory, the gift of speech, the gift and the ability to articulate. And so I work at that through Toastmasters and different venues to develop myself as a speaker, as a presenter. And so whatever your gift is, you have to find what your gift is and you have to develop it, you have to cultivate it, and you have to use it to leave this world a better place than how you found it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Makes sense, right? The other problem with having a gift or a dream, how many of you know some haters in the midst? There's some dream stealers. My mother used to call them dream stealers. She used to say, son, be careful about who you tell your dream because everybody's not going to be happy for you. Sometimes you have to do stuff in secret and in private, and God will reward you openly. Talk about it. So you can't let anybody steal your dream. I'm reminded of a story of a young man. When this young man was born, he was born blind. By the age of 2, he had developed the uncanny ability to proficiently play the piano. By the age of 6, he had developed the ability to play the trumpet. Not only was he born blind, but he was born crippled. One of his goals and his dreams and aspirations, ladies and gentlemen, was to one day march in a college marching band. Now you're looking at me saying, come on. You just told us that this young man was born blind. You just said that he was born crippled. But he took a page out of Helen Keller's book, who said, I'd rather have vision without sight than sight without vision. So you don't have to be able to see physically to have a dream for your life, to have a vision for your life. And so his father, how many of you know when you believe and you're so passionate about something that you're pursuing, people will come out the woodwork to support you? Yeah. People that you least expect, or sometimes family, the biggest haters. How many of y'all know that? But I'm going to tell you something. When you continue to pursue your vision, you have to make believers out of family. And if you stay the course, those haters that were in your family will become your biggest supporters at the end. But it's better to have vision without sight than sight without vision. I'm reminded of another gentleman. His name was Mike Jones. Mike Jones is a motivational speaker, but he's blind. But he just wrote a best-selling book called How to Make $1 Million with Your Eyes Closed. And his whole premise in his book is people that can see too much. They see the obstacles. They see the pitfalls. They see the haters, and then they go talk to them. You can have a vision for your life, and your vision can come to fruition. How many of you know that the mind is a terrible thing to waste? Yeah. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. I remember I was growing up in the 80s, and I think it was on Saturdays after Soul Train. But there was a commercial that came on every Saturday that was sponsored by the United Negro College Fund. And the mantra as the commercial closed would say, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. But then there was another commercial, and it was sponsored by the drug czar. I think it was William Bennett at that time. And he was in the commercial, he had 2 eggs. And he had those eggs over the frying pan. And he would crack those eggs into the frying pan and say, this is your mind on drugs. But see, the thing is, y'all laughing a little bit too hard. But see, the thing is this. Whenever I go throughout the country and I talk to young and old, some people are convinced that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. But some others are not convinced. And so I have to convince them. How many of you know that the mind is more powerful than any satellite? The mind is more powerful than any computer, than any Xbox 360, than any PlayStation or cell phone, iPhone. You know why? Because the mind created that. But it's a woman named Patricia Russell McLeod, and she gave the best definition for what a mind is. How many of you want to know what the mind is? Anybody want to know what the mind is? The mind is an electrical chemical reduction plant that integrates segregated states of special energy abstract like storage batteries. The mind has over 62,000 miles of capillaries, which is its own extraordinary complex mechanism. It's guided with exquisite precision. It has a telescopic and microscopic rangefinder. It has a spectroscope with its own main fuel energy and intake and exhaust system. May I suggest to you, Kaplan students, that the mind is a terrible thing to waste. Use your mind. And as I get ready to close, so that you guys can go back to your studies and not waste your mind, there's 4 things that I want you to remember. One is to be motivated. Say motivation.
Motivation.
Motivation comes from the root word motive, which means reason for. You need to establish the reason for why you do anything that you do in life. Otherwise, you should not do it. There's a lot of people that don't like their job. I'm not going to say, don't go into your job tomorrow and quit and say, McGHEE told me to quit my job. But if you're doing something you don't like, many of you are probably here in school, getting this education, getting this training, because you're probably currently doing something that you don't like too much. And so you're in the right place. Because you should do something that you love to do. I love to do what I'm doing right now. You ain't got to even pay me to do this. And they say if you find a thing that you love so much and so passionate about that you would do it for free, but you would do it so well that people would be willing to pay you for it. Understand that that's for real. The second thing is attitude. It was Dr. King who said attitude. It's our attitudes and not our aptitudes that will determine our altitude amongst the multitude. Let me say it again. He said it's our attitude and not our aptitudes that will determine our altitude amongst the multitude.